Good morning, everyone. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Good morning.
Shabbat Shalom.
I want to just share a little bit of what's going on in the sanctuary this morning. As many of you know, this is a very special day. It is the Bat Mitzvah of Sadie Fader, and she is joined here, right there. She's joined
Hi,
here
Sadie.
with her family. Everybody wave, Shabbat Shalom. And they are going to be participating in person with us, with Rabbi Molly and myself this morning, as Sadie encounters this milestone of becoming an adult in the eyes of the Jewish community. And so we are so thrilled that we can be with you this morning. Is leading much of the service, and as we've done in the past, we are going to try to project this out so that other people who are watching online might be able to see us as well. So give me 1 second. We're already live. Never mind. Rabbi Molly is on it. Okay, so we are live. And so welcome to everybody who was out in the virtual Jewish world watching us this morning, and those who are joining us via Zoom, and of course those who are here with us in person. We're going to get going this morning with a little bit of music, as we always do, and Rabbi Molly is going to lead us in Hine Matov. Okay, ciao.
Hine Matov.
So now, in order for Sadie to be unmasked in most of the leading of the ceremony, Rabbi Molly and I are going to stay in our masks, and she is going to lead us through much of our tefillah this morning. And as always, if you can keep yourself on mute so that we don't have a cacophony of sounds, that would be lovely. And Sadie is going to start us off with Modeh Moda Ani. I offer thanks to you, ever-living sovereign, that you have restored my soul to me in mercy. How great is your trust.
Modeh ani lefanecha, melech chai v'kayam, shehezarta b'nishmati behemla, behemla, rabba emunatecha, rabba emunatecha, modeh ani lefanecha, melech chai v'kayam, shehezarta b'nishmati behemla, behemla, rabba emunatecha, rabba emunatecha. Please join me on page 76 for a share Yatzar. Praise to you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who formed the human body with skill, creating the body's many pathway and openings. It is well known before your throne of glory that if one of them be wrongly opened or closed, it would be impossible to endure and stand before you. Blessed are you, Adonai, who heals all flesh, working wondrously. Baruch atah Adonai, rofeh kol basar umachli la'asot. We now turn to page 76 for Elenu Neshama, thanking God for our souls. Please join me on pages 80, 82, and 84 for Nisim B'chol Yom, giving thanks for our daily miracles. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who has given me the ability to distinguish day from night.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who opens the eyes of the blind.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who frees the captive.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who lifts up the fallen.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who stretches the earth over the waters.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who strengthens our steps.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who clothes the naked.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who gives strength to the weary.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who removes sleep from the eyelids, who removes sleep from the eyes, slumber from the eyelids.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who has made me in the image of God.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who has made me free.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who has made me a Jew.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who girds Israel with strength.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who crowns Israel with splendor.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who hollows us with mitzvot, commanding us to engage with Torah.
Amen.
We continue now with our call to worship, the Barhu, on page 108. Please rise as able and join with me. may be seated. We continue now on page 110 with Yotzer Or. Praised are you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, creator of light and darkness, who makes peace and fashions all things. In mercy, you illume the world and those who live upon it. In your goodness, you daily renew creation. How numerous your works, Adonai. In wisdom, you form them, filling the earth with your creatures. Be praised, Adonai our God, for the excellent work of your hands, and for the lights you created, may they glorify you. Shine a new light upon Zion, that we all swiftly merit its radiance. Praised are you, Adonai, creator of heavenly lights. Baruch atah Adonai Yotzer Ha'orot. Please turn to page 113 for Ahava Rabbah, followed by Shema Ve'afta. Love your neighbor as yourself, you said, and light blinded we saw, the inner and outer worlds are one, as you are one. You spoke and we wrote, we reached for you down the centuries. Your light moving before us, as we climbed, fell back, and climbed again, your Sinai of life. Baruch atah Adonai habocher ba'almo Yisrael bahava. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'kol levavcha u'v'kol nafshecha u'v'kol me'odecha ve'hayu ha'devarim ha'ele asher anuchi mitzavecha hayom alevavecha v'shinavtam levanecha v'dibartam bam v'shivtecha b'beitecha uvlektecha b'derech u'shofecha u'kumecha u'kshartam leot al yodecha v'hayu lo totafot bein einecha u'ktavtam al mizuzot beitecha u'visharecha leman tiskeru v'asietem et kol mitzvotai v'yotem kadoshim Elohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lahem Elohim ani Adonai Elohechem. We continue now with Micha Mocha on page 122. Micha Mocha ba'elim Amidah begins on page 124 and continues on pages 126 and 128. If you are able, please rise.
Sur Yisrael, Kuma Be'ezrat Yisrael, Uvtechenu Lecha, Yehuda ve'Yisrael. Go Aleinu, Adonai Tzvot Shemo, Kadosh Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai, Ka'al Yisrael.
Adonai sefatita ufina gitehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Eloheinu v'Eloheinu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el HaGadol, HaGibor ve'Hanora, Elohim, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Bekonei Hakol, V'zocher Chasdei Avot V'Imahot, Ulevi Ilah Lifnei Leman Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer Moshiach Magin, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Abraham V'Tzrat Sarah. Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechayei Hakol atah, Rav Moshiach, Mashiv HaRuach U'Morid HaGashem, Mechayei Chaim V'Chesed, Mechayei Hakol V'Rachamim Rabim, Tzomech Noflim V'Rofeh Holim, U'Matir Asurim, U'Mekayem Emunato L'Shenei Alpha, Milchamocha Bal Gevurot, U'Midol Melech, Melech Memit U'Mechayei, U'Masmiach Yeshua, B'Ne'emanatah Chayot HaKol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayei HaKol. Nekadesh et Shimcha ba'olam, Keshem shemati shimoto b'shmeimarim, Kakatuv hayad niviecha, V'kara zeh al zeh ve'amar, Kadosh, 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 Adonai Tzevot, Melech haaretz, Kevodo, Adir, Adirenu Adonai, Adonenu Ma'adir, Shimcha b'chol haaretz, Baruch Kevod Adonai, Mikomo. Echad hu Eloheinu, Hu Avinu Malkeinu, Hu Moshiachenu ve'Hu Yashmienu, Berachamav b'nei kol chai. Ani Adonai Elohechem, Yimloch Adonai le'olam, Elohai Tzion, Ledor vador. Hallelujah. Ledor vador nagid godecha, u'lanetzach netzachim kedushacha natish, v'shivchacha Eloheinu mibidu lo yadush le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh. We continue now with silent prayer. When you are finished, you may be seated.
Sure. 142.
Oh,
Down at the bottom. Remember it's-
oh,
yeah.
I'm standing in it.
Yes, I can see it. Oh, say shalom bimrama. Uyase shalom aleinu. Ve'akol Yisrael. Ve'nu, amen. Ya'aseh shalom. Ya'aseh shalom. Shalom aleinu. Ve'akol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom. Ya'aseh shalom. Shalom aleinu. Ve'akol Yisrael. We now move to Seder Kriyat HaTorah, the order for the reading of our Torah. This morning, we are reading from two separate Torah portions. Actually, the one that would have been Sadie's Bat Mitzvah Torah portion had it happened over the summer, and the one that is today. And Sadie did something rather exceptional with the help of her tutor, Rabbi Raz, in not only preparing two aliyot from her previous Torah portion from the book of Numbers, but also from this morning's Torah portion, which is where she will be drashing. She will be giving us a bit of a taste of Torah for all of us this morning as well. So we're going to actually do a hakafah. And as we do that this morning, we are going to implement a new minchag, a new custom here at TBT. It is our COVID minchag for our hakafah, for our processional, which is normally when the Torah comes around, people take their tzitzit, the fringes of their talit or their prayer book, and they touch the Torah and they kiss. And instead of sharing all of those germs this morning with our Torah scroll, instead, we are going to bring it around. And Rabbi Molly and I had a professor in Jerusalem who, when the Torah would come around, rather than kissing it, he would do much like we do in our Amidah. He would bend and he would bow as it processed around. So that's going to be our new COVID minchag for our hakafah this morning. And we will let you all at home see the hakafah. I know you guys have been missing an actual Torah service. So today you get a little taste of that. So we're going to begin on page 244. And as before we open the ark, if you're able, please rise. Ein kamocha v'Elohim Adonai, ve'ein kamasecha, malchutacha malchut, kol olamim, umemshaltacha b'chol dor v'dor. Adonai melech, Adonai malach, Adonai himloch, leolam v'ed. Adonai hoz le'amo yitain, Adonai yevarech et amo v'shalom. Acharachamim etiva v'tzona et Zion tivnei chomot Yerushalayim, Tivnei chomot Yerushalayim, Ki vacha lavad batachnu, Melech el ram v'nisa, Adon olamim.
Vayehi bin soach Aaron, vayomer Moshe, Kuma Adonai, ve'afutsu oivecha, ve'sanusu mesanecha mipanecha, ki mitzion
Tetzei Torah, Ki Mitzion, Tetzei Torah, Udavar Adonai, Mirushalayim. Baruch Shenatan Torah, Torah, Baruch Shenatan Torah, Torah, Le'amo Yisrael, B'kedushato. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo, Gadol Adonai Iti, Uneromema Shemo Yachdav. Shlosha Devarim, Shlosha Devarim, Shlosha Devarim, Haolam, Haolam, Amen. Shlosha Devarim, Shlosha Devarim, Shlosha Devarim, Haolam, Haolam, Amen. All HaTorah, they all love Oda, they all keep Utasadim. All HaTorah, they all love Oda. Do you have this one? All keep Utasadim. That's the good idea. Okay. All Shosha Devarim, all Shosha Devarim, all Shosha Devarim, Amen. All Shosha Devarim. Shosha Devarim, Shosha Devarim, Olam, Olam, Olam. So many Torahs, so many Torahs. Some stuff over. I'll be seated. This is also our new minchag for doing virtual bat mitzvahs, bar mitzvahs, is having several Torah scrolls out all at once because they're reading from different parshiot and they have to be rolled to different places. So we have a couple of Torah scrolls this morning, which means the bima is a little bit more crowded than normal. But Sadie's very first reading is taken from the book of Numbers, and she is going to be reading the very first blessing is going to be done by her father, Daryl, and her grandmother is as well going to do the first one, Dashiel. And then her second Torah portion, her second Torah reading is going to be blessed by her brother Dash. And then, of course, the very final one will be given to our bat mitzvah as she becomes an adult in our community. So we are going to, we don't actually have the words of the Torah portion on your screens this morning. But if you are following along, the very first aliyah is going to be from Numbers, chapter 10, verses 33 through 36. And we're going to try to make it so that you can kind of see over Sadie's shoulder the Torah portion that she's reading as we live stream and Gabbai and do all of the other things that we're not used to doing in a bat mitzvah service. So, all right, so we are going to call up Daryl and Dashel for the very first aliyah over our Torah scroll. Okay.
Kuet Adonai Hambarach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam Vahed.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach Le'olam Vaed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Olam. Asher Borcha Bonu Mikol Ha'amim. Venatan Lanu Et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
Where is it? Amen. Vayis'u mechar Adonai derech shalosh yamim. Baron brit Adonai nosea lifnehem. Derech shalosh yamim lator lahem menucha. Va'anan Adonai alehem yomam nosam min hamachaneh. Vayehi bin soach Aaron, vayomer Moshe, Kuma Adonai, ve'afutzu oivecha, ve'anusu mesanecha mipanecha, uvnucho yomar shuva Adonai, rivevot al pei Yisrael.
That's beautiful. That was beautiful. All right, now just.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Olam Asher Natan Lanu Torat Emet V'chayei Olam Notav V'Tokeinu Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. Give her a hug. And you're good. All right. You guys come over here. Slide on this side because you're going to stay up here with her. We are going to, with our Torah out and Sadie and her family up here with the blessing of the Torah, we are going to also ask for blessings on our congregation, those who are in need of healing of mind, body, or spirit. And we'll also include our country, so in need of healing nowadays as well. So we ask for healing over Valentina Darchovsky, Azrael Early, Rohan Early, Tara Landry, Myra Masig, Patricia Shapiro, Orly Sherman, Amy Thornton, Deborah Newman's-Castengay, Lindsay Robinson, Laura Armstrong, Stacy Hetzel, Diane Turner, Michael Sirkenpool, Jacqueline Tara Smith, Kalina Suzawa, Deborah Rose, Sid Rubin, Liliana Oxsmith, Hans Wheel, Sylvia Brown, Phil Grinker, Jeffrey Finn, Benjamin Dominitz, Terry Callett, Pam Shane Johnson, Eileen Kreisman, Ronnie Haber, Mark Beeler, Sherry Schnabel, Carlene Ackerman, Scott Bush, Lisa Bush, and Danielle Sirkin-Poole. Are there other names? We join together in our prayer for healing, our Mishiberach, on page 253. May the source of strength bless the ones before us. Help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Yisheberach imotenu mikol habracha leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen. And so now for our second aliyah, I would like to invite up Sadie's brother Dash, who is going to be doing our blessing for her second reading. Oh, Serafina too. We're in this Torah now. Okay, switching Torahs.
If anyone is following along at home, we are moving now to the parsha for this Shabbat, which is Vayera, and Sadie will be chanting from Genesis chapter 18, starting at verse 9. For this aliyah, she'll be chanting verses 9 through 11.
And Sadie's sister Serafina will be joining her brother Dash in the blessing.
It's fine, but it should be right there.
Right here? Beautiful. Okay. Can you guys see that?
Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bahar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Dash, hold on. I'm gonna
You're gonna hold.
there.
Okay. Amen. Vayomru elav aye Sarah ishtecha vayomer hine vaohel vayomer shovashuv elecha ka'echaya v'hine ben l'Sarah ishtecha v'Sarah shomat petach haohel v'hu aharav ve'Avraham v'Sarah zekenim ba'im bayamim Hadal lichyo l'Sarah orach kanashim.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam natan b'tochenu. Baruch Atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Beautiful job. Give your sister a hug. Thank you guys so much. You can be seated. Stay up here. Okay. And so now for the final aliyah, our bat mitzvah, Sadie Fader is going to be reading for the community from the Torah for the very first time, or not from the Torah, blessing the Torah for the very first time. She's like, what did I just do? Okay, blessing the Torah for the very, very first time and taking on the, this is actually what makes her bat mitzvah, is blessing the Torah and sharing it with others. So we are, if you're following along at home, our third and final aliyah is from Genesis 18, verses 12 through 15.
Okay. Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bahar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
you see where you finished? But that's do you see right there? Can you bring your yod right here?
Yeah.
Do you need help with the trope?
Batitzchak Sarah Bekir Ba Lemor Achare Veloti Haitali Edna Vadoni Zaken Vayomer Adonai El Abraham Lamozeh Sahaka Sarah Lemor Ha'af Unam Eled Va'ani Zakanti Haipalem Adonai Davar Lamoed Ashuv Elecha Ka'et Haya Ulsaraven Vatichahesh Sarah Lemor Lo Sahakti Ki Yare'a Vayomer Lo Ki Zahat. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata betochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Simen tov u'mazel tov u'mazel tov simen tov u'mazel tov u'mazel tov simen tov u'mazel tov u'mazel tov simen tov. Hey lanu, u'v'chol Israel. Hey lanu, u'v'chol Israel. Hey lanu, u'v'chol Israel. Hey lanu, u'v'chol Israel. Mazel tov. You did it beautifully. You still have more though.
Yeah.
So don't go anywhere. Thank you guys so much. Can you see it? So we have a couple of Torahs to put away. So bear with us for a moment. Rabbi Molly is going to try to do Hagbah for us on the smaller Torah, on Molly Launer's Torah. We'll make sure we're either side just in case.
Okay.
So if you're able to, we're going to raise our Torah up in the midst of our people and let everybody see it. So if you're able, please rise. V'zot ha'Torah asher sam Moshe lifnei bnei Yisrael al pi Adonai v'yad Moshe. Torah, 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 tzivad lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 tzivad lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 tzivad lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 tzivad lanu Moshe. V'chol netivotecha You may be seated.
You know, I'm trying to ready for the next one.
We are out of Torah lifting shape.
Yeah.
Both of us. Oh, yeah, sure. And so now Sadie will be reading her Haftarah portion to us, and starting with the blessing.
Okay. We praise you, Adonai, living spirit of the world. When we read the words of prophets, we remember that you were the source of their inspiration. Inspire us to learn from the truthful words of righteous prophets and to choose our own words with care. Be'isha achat minashe v'nei hanevi'im. Za'aka el Elisha lemor avdecha ishi met v'ata yadata ki avdecha chaya yareh et Adonai. V'hanoshe ba lakahat et shnei yeladai lo la'avadim. Vayomer elecha Elisha ma e'eselach hagidi li ma yeshlach babayit vatomer ein Lishivtatcha kol babayit ki im asuch shamen. Vayomer lehi sha'alilach kelim im hachutz me'et kol shechenaich kelim rakim al tamiti. Uvat bisagart hadelet ba'adech uvad banaich Visakt or Vyaksakt al kol hakelim ha'ele be'amale hasi'i. And she went from him and closed the doors behind her and behind her sons. They were bringing the vessels to her, and she was pouring. And it happened when the vessels were full, she said to her sons, "Bring me another vessel." And he said to her, "There are no more vessels," and the oil stopped. And she came and told the man of God, and he said, "Go sell the oil and pay your debt, and you and your sons will live off what is left." We praise you, Adonai, living spirit of the world. You are a source of strength and justice for all generations. Your words teach us to search for truth and righteousness. We are thankful for Torah, for worship, and for the prophets and all your teachings. We are grateful for the privilege of joining together in prayer and study. We celebrate Shabbat, a day of which you have given us for holiness and rest. For all these things and more, we thank you and praise you. May we remember to praise you now and always. Blessed are you, Adonai. You teach us to make the Sabbath holy.
Amen. Yes, sure.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
So my Torah portion, Vayera, is about how random strangers, who later turn out to be angels, visit Abraham and tell them that they're going to have a kid next year. And what I like most is how Sarah reacted to this situation. I mean, she is 90 years old being told that she's going to have a kid, so I don't blame her for laughing. I also like the idea of Sarah being the main character in this story. Once the strangers or angels enter the camp, they ask, "Where's Sarah?" before revealing the news. And for more evidence, there's a special thing that I have in my portion as well. If you look at my Torah portion specifically, you would notice how there are some odd dots that are on certain words. Well, only 10 of these dots appear in Torah. We no longer know exactly what they were supposed to mean, but examining all of them, it's pretty clear that we were being told, this is not what it seems. So in my portion, these dots appear over the words "to him" when they are asking, "Where's Sarah?" Clearly, this means that they wanted to get Sarah's attention in order to tell her the news, not Abraham. And just so you know, Abraham was already told that he should expect a child from God since the previous chapter. So the only reason the angels would visit is to let Sarah know. And what I noticed is there aren't a lot of stories that just revolve around the woman. So this Torah portion was really fun to learn about. And even though the Torah was mainly written by men, it still showed examples of equality. With other cultures or religions, the girl or woman are viewed as less than, while in Judaism, we recognize the importance in everyone and everything. The Torah is really clear about equality between men and women, but it's still a problem we have today. You might think that But you really have to think, if it wasn't for Sarah having a child, there'd be no Jewish people. So it's really important to recognize Sarah's effect on all of us and how, yeah, Abraham is a cool guy. He isn't the only one in the story. I mean, I am a woman now, I guess, so it's very important for my voice to be heard. And if you know me personally, you're probably thinking, Sadie, it's pretty clear that you don't have a problem talking, but it is still something that I care about. I've been working really hard in order to learn everything I need to know for this day. And even though I wasn't able to do everything in Hebrew, I'm still happy I was finally able to have my bat mitzvah. I would like to say thank you to Rabbi Rez, who basically helped me with everything. I would like to say thank you to Rabbi Molly, who helped me figure out what was going on, because I honestly had no clue about the structure and anything like that. And Rabbi Sidney, who taught me more about Judaism in my Torah portion. I also want to thank my family for signing me up for Hebrew school in the first place. And I already know that my siblings will have very nice comments after this service, so I'll just thank them now. Also, thank you, Vanessa, for having to drive me to all my Wednesday classes and being here. Thank you, Elsa and Erica, for being here and having to deal with me saying, sorry, I can't hang out, I have Hebrew school. I honestly don't know how many times I've said that to people. It's sad that not a lot of people could come to celebrate, but I think it's better to have the few people who I really care about here. Even though I wasn't able to do a bat mitzvah project, I hope to learn more and more about Judaism as I get older. Thank you.
And now I'd like to invite up Daryl and Dashiell, Sadie's father and grandmother, to share with her a few words of blessing.
Sadie. One key feature of you that people have recognized over the years has been empathy. Empathy is the ability to understand or feel what another person is feeling or experiencing. Empathetic people can figuratively put themselves in someone else's shoes. But it's more than just showing sympathy, where you're concerned about someone else and you want them to be happier or better. With empathy, you actually share the other person's emotional state. And research has found that a part of the brain associated with pain is actually activated when empathetic people watch someone being hurt, for example. Empathy is always important, but it's especially needed now during a public health crisis, when connecting with others is particularly hard. It's a sort of COVID mitzvah to continue to practice empathy in your life. You've had to deal with a lot. Isolation from your friends, quarantine with your siblings, postponing our trip to Israel, canceling your school play. These things can make a person numb, exhausted, hypersensitive, and cynical. My advice, first of all, is to start by simply being aware that you're not alone in this. Many of us are dealing with similar issues. Be kind to yourself first, physically, food, exercise, sleep, and mentally, reaching out and staying in touch with friends. And as we talked about, focusing on one or two projects that you're really passionate about. I'm glad that you will continue to work with Rabbi Ruz in your Jewish studies as well. This will take time. COVID may take time too. Work on these things gradually, but consistently and with purpose. You've done an amazing job throughout this year, and I look forward to the Sadie that you're becoming.
We'll make this short.
Let me preface my introduction to Sadie at this point by borrowing from Victor Hugo. It was the best of times, it was the worst of times. The best of times, all was going just great, with a hint of what could happen, and did. January, we were making plans like everyone else. This was going to be a red letter year for Sadie. Leading part in a play at school, bat mitzvah, trip to Israel. Was God laughing? I doubt it. And remember, the best is yet to come. That being said, I have 6 gems in my life. 2 are in the heirloom category, my sons, and 4 are diamonds in the rough, grandchildren. All very different in personalities, but all just exquisite in their abilities to adapt well in many different environments. One of these children is Sadie. She's a real mensch. The name Sadie sounds comforting, doesn't it? Sadie has an exuberance for learning about everything, how to do everything, hobbies that keep growing, always has been thoughtful and eager to help others, a good listener and a good friend, in certain respects beyond her years. Sadie just wants to do everything. She plays the cello, she's an actress, she's a dancer, she's an artist, including tie-dyeing, great student, knits, embroiders, writes, and lately, cooking. And now for the advice about life. Children learn so much about life from us, and in return, each child teaches each adult in their lives some unexpected wisdom. You eventually will be faced with choices, so do your best. For instance, choice of temple, whether to go to temple. By all means, make time for your religion. It will bring you comfort, and along the way, nice people will be part of your friendship circle. Going even infrequently is still better than not going at all. Learn history in school and temple with the emphasis on history, not political opinions. You must and will learn to tune out the political opinions of others. However, in a perfect world, lecturing and opinions would not occur. Do not become aggravated or embattled in an exchange of ideas with people who are not on your wavelength. Do your best to evaluate history, knowledge that you acquired and evaluated yourself. Inspiration, motivation, a little perspiration. Teddy Roosevelt quote about the value of struggle. That the person who steps into the arena to try is victorious from the start, because if success comes, he knows the triumph of high achievement. But if he fails short of his goal, he fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat. Fear of failure can be debilitating, tough to ignore, but you always have a plan and a backup plan. Depend on your strengths. The domino effect is when one thing goes wrong and everything else collapses. That is the time to persevere. Use your inner strengths. So in keeping these thoughts, what are your dreams and wishes and goals? When you are almost at your goal, do not become complacent, confident, and perhaps overconfident, and that can be your undoing. It is not over till it really is over and you have accomplished what you set out to do. In other words, don't get too comfortable or too full of yourself. Be nice to everybody. You are great, but what is greatness? Not just getting where you want to go, but also knowing that you are respected by your peers and are a kind and understanding individual. Above all, Sadie, I wish for you a life of happiness, achievement, with few obstacles. And thanks for all the good people who have helped to make Sadie the person she is today. Thank you, rabbis, Rabbi Raz, Rabbi Sidney, Rabbi Molly, and a special shout out to Vanessa, who has always been there for us. Thank you, Vanessa. Too long, wasn't it?
So Sadie, I think your father and grandmother said much that is to be said, but I wanted to just reflect on a little bit of our study together. First of all, I think everybody would agree she did an absolutely beautiful job today. You did it on the level of a rabbi. And I'm so proud of your composure, all the work you put in to get here today, the fact that you chose sensible shoes. All of these things are things that are the makings, the trappings of a future rabbi. But there was one thing in particular that I was very touched by. You and I studied your Torah portion, and although we only looked at the very few lines of the Annunciation scene where Sarah is told that she's going to have a baby, you came up with so many different things that you could interpret from that Torah portion. From just a few lines, from a few verses, you had 4 or 5 different things. And as we went through, you wrote one Devar Torah, and then you wrote another Devar Torah, and then you changed your mind and wrote a third. And you apologized to me saying, oh, I know I'm indecisive. And that's not how I viewed it at all. First of all, that's what every rabbi does. They have like 7 different themes. They try not to weave them all into the same sermon. So you at least were smart enough not to do that. But you took the Torah and you took Parshat Vayera, which is a really complex portion. It is an action-packed portion, and it spans actually several years. And you found so much meaning to the point where it was difficult for you to just choose one thing that you were passionate about and wanted to talk about. And that tells me more about you as a person than anything else. It's not indecision, it's passion, it's deep thought, it's reflection, and it's taking those deep thoughts and wanting to put them out into the world. And that's a truly incredible quality for somebody your age. When you become bat mitzvah, we always say, you are now an adult in the Jewish community. We know, you know, your family knows that there's still a lot of growing to do. But standing here with you today, I can say you are on an exceptional trajectory to get to greatness. And not just greatness in what you will achieve, but in the person you are, in the deep thoughts that you give to things. And we as Jews in America, which seems so confused and divided right now, we need more Sadie Faders. We need more of you who will think deeply and guide us in paths that are determined by intellect and by heart, and you have all of that. And so this morning, as we celebrate you becoming bat mitzvah, I want to not only inspire you to go on to do great things, but thank you for the great things you will do in advance. Just like you thanked your siblings in advance for all the wonderful things that they would say about you, I'm thanking you in advance for all of the wonderful things that I know you will do. So with that, we are going to give Sadie our blessing, Birkat Kohanim, the priestly benediction, asking for God's presence in Sadie's very long, full life. So if you're able, please rise. Yevarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. May God bless you and keep you. Ye'er Adonai panav elecha v'chonecha. May God's face shine upon you and be gracious unto you. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May God's presence always be with you and grant you a long and healthy and productive and joyful life of peace. Amen. Yes, and so, and you may be seated. So as a congregation, we want to thank you, Sadie, for all of the hard work that you put into getting here today. And I know that everybody out there who is watching today also, as part of our congregation, is so appreciative of being able to have these life cycle events. And it is a little touch, a little taste of normality in a really strange world right now. So I'm sure that I'm not the only one who says thank you for being willing to do this. When Sadie was looking at having her bat mitzvah several months ago, she was very disheartened by the fact that we were going to have to put it off or do it virtually. And even though she was disheartened by it, she didn't give up. She didn't stop studying. She worked with Rabbi Ruz tirelessly to make sure that today was perfect, and it was perfect. So we are going to now move to the conclusion of our service. Oh, there's a gift. That's right. Rabbi Molly keeps telling me, the gift, the gift, the gift. Okay. So in addition to the bat mitzvah certificate that we signed, the temple is also gifting you with a $250 gift certificate for a future nifty trip to Israel. I know you had plans to go this year, but you have a long life ahead of you, and you'll be able to go back many, many, many times, and we hope you take that opportunity. We have also gifted you with your own Kiddush cup, so that when you celebrate Shabbat at home with your family, you can enjoy that as a simcha that was provided by our temple family. A tzedakah box. And finally, your own mezuzah to hang either on your bedroom door or to keep and put it up in a future home of your own. All right, so now we turn back to our prayer book, back to our Siddur, as we conclude our service with Aleinu on page 282. Please rise.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adam hakol, la'tei tefillah li'oter bereshit, shelo asanu k'gegei ha'aratzot, velo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama, shelo samchokenu k'ahem, v'goraleinu k'chol ha'manom, v'anachnu korim u'mishtachavim u'modim, Ifnei melech malchei hamlechim hakadosh baruch hu v'ne'emar v'haya Adonai lamelech al kol haaretz bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad.
You may be seated. Our thoughts now turn to loved ones who were central parts of our life who are no longer with us. This week, we remember the most recent loss of John Levy and Sylvia Brown, but also the yardsites, the anniversary of the deaths of Rose Roth, Samuel Kodish, Morris Al-Hadaf, Marvin Apple, Diane Slavkin-Benson, Marion Dover, Abraham Fallick, Ron Frank, Ruth Gallos, Joseph Grossman, Louis O. Haas, Ed Kaufman, Morris Kirschenbaum, Betty Kleinberger, Juliet Weiss Maloney, Gloria Ostrak, Phil Reibman, Leonard Martin Schwartz, and Joey West. Are there other names? We rise now in solidarity with all who are in mourning on this Shabbat morning to say in ancient words, Kaddish Yatom, the mourner's Kaddish. We're on page 294. Kadash Shemei Rabbah, Ve'alma Divrach Yirte Ve'yamlich Malchute, V'chayachon Uvyomachon Uvchaye Dechol Beit Israel, V'agala Uvizman Kari V'imru. Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah Mevarach Le'olam Lalmei Almaya, Yitbarach Ve'yishtabach Ve'yitpa'ar Ve'yitramam Ve'yitnaseh, Ve'yithadar Ve'yitale Ve'ytalal Shmei Dekudasha Barichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Israel, v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Israel, v'imru. Amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and to all Israel, to which we say, Amen. You may be seated. So I would like to, we're going to do Kiddush and Motzi. We have a challah, we have some grape juice / wine. I'm not sure which one it is. I'm assuming it's grape juice. And I would like to invite Rabbi Raz, who has worked so hard with Sadie to get her to this day, to come up and do Kiddush and Motzi along with her if she is willing. V'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני, את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. על כן ברך אדוני את יום השבת ויקדשהו. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, בורא פרי הגפן. L'chaim. Yeah. It's our COVID covered cup. You can drink out of it. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz v'te'avon. All right, so Rabbi Molly is going to sing you. Thank you so much, Rabbi Molly. Rabbi Molly is going to sing you all out. I'm going to go upstairs and get ready for our Torah study because it is noon. But Sadie, Mazel Tov, you did a beautiful job. Rabbi Raz, Mazel Tov, you did a beautiful job getting Sadie to this day. And Mazel Tov to all of you Give a nice wave. Shabbat Shalom. Thank you guys so much for being here with us today.
Hello, everyone. We are going to, yeah, that's okay. Are you staying or going? Oh, are you still logged on? Okay, cool. All right, we're going to finish with Ein Eloheinu, which Sadie is going to help lead. We'll come over here.
Ein Eloheinu, Ein Eloheinu, Ein Malkeinu, Ein Moshienu, Mi Eloheinu, Mi Adonenu, Mi Malkeinu, Mi Moshienu. No Eloheinu, no Adonenu, no Malkeinu, no Moshienu, Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adonenu, Baruch Malkeinu, Baruch Moshienu, Atahu Eloheinu, Atahu Adonenu, Atahu Malkeinu, Atahu Moshienu.
All right.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. If you are joining me for Torah study, you have about 10 minutes for a little bit of a bio break. But again, thank you all so much for being here.
And I'm going to drop into the chat the new link just to make sure everybody has it for the text study, since there's a new link that went out a few days ago. So sit tight if you don't have that link. Otherwise, see you in text study very soon.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Hi, Joe, Cheryl.
Yeah.
Josie.
Thank you, Sadie. Yesher koach.
Yes, of course, Sadie.
Yesher koach,
Sadie.
I don't know all the Hebrew, but you did an excellent job.
Got a shout out too from Jermaine. Well, I think that's the link.
I hope it is. I'll give it a try. I got the newsletter, so I'll give both these a try.
Okay, it's hard because it doesn't have the actual link. It's like a button you have to click. So copy link location. So try that one, and if anyone needs it.
I'll text the rabbi if I can't get
Yeah, I
it.
was gonna say just text one of us. We'll get it to you.
Oh, real quick while I have you though. You said something about Talmud classes. Are you teaching those now?
Oh, well, I am going to start a Talmud class. I was more just saying, like, whenever I teach Talmud, like, I include it a lot in things. I like teach a Talmud text, but we are going to start a Talmud class. We will.
Yeah, because I did love that story.
Yeah, thank you. I saw your comment. Thank you. So,
all right.
Awesome.